Ebro In The Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg, and I guess a Twitter friend of mine, Tariq Nasheed, on the radio right now. Ebro In The Morning. Tariq, you are very vocal on social. I'm going to get right to it.
Absolutely.
You are very vocal on social about the enlightenment of black people.
Absolutely.
Period. End of discussion, right?
Absolutely.
Everything that happens in politics, everything that happens in music, everything that happens in sports, you have a very entertaining and interesting take on it. And sometimes you make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, you're very, very aware. I wanted to jump right in with you at the top of 2017 this year. I want to talk about Trump.
Yeah.
Because leading up to Trump's, I guess, win, right?
Yeah.
I think you were honest about your support of Bernie.
Yeah.
But you were still...
Yeah, I like Bernie, but Bernie was still kind of tiptoeing on black issues to me, and there's a benign neglect policy where politicians are not supposed to specifically talk about black issues. That was something that started in the early 70s, called the benign neglect program, where you're not supposed to promise black folks anything. You're supposed to use these vague terms like minority, people of color.
As to not offend the greater...
Really, to not make any promises to black people, because in the 1960s, there were a lot of riots in the late 60s, and they had something called the Kerner Commission. They were trying to figure out why these riots were going on. And people said, okay, well, it's white racism. They say, okay, there's always been white racism. What's the real reason now? Why are black people acting out now? They figured out that black people were getting all these promises made after 1965 with the Civil Rights Act.
Oh, that hope thing.
That
hope thing.
Yeah, with Dr. King and all that, and they were promising black people stuff, and they weren't going to give it to black people, and we started acting out. So they said, okay, we got a solution. Let's not give them nothing, and let's not even promise them anything. Let's act like they don't even exist. So this is why they started using terms like minority, people of color, and these are very vague terms. And they still use that today and act like it means black, but it doesn't.
Well, and that was also around the same time that black people were like, no, we're black.
Yes.
We're black. And our existence, while, yes, we acknowledge our roots in Africa, be clear, we are black people, and our experience in America is unlike any other African descendant on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
And it's very different. Trump, what is your opinion of him?
Well, Trump is basically...
Fan? No.
Trump is a reflection of the white supremacist mindset that's prevalent in our country. We got to understand that he's not even qualified to be a manager at Starbucks. They made that man a president of the United States after all the vile things that he said, because he stuck to a code of white supremacy. He spoke in these different little vague codes that all the low-level white supremacists could understand. And that's all that matters. The code is the leadership to them.
Do you believe that all supporters of Trump are racist?
No, but I suspect that they could be. See,
I
suspect that they could be. I'm not saying that they are, because I always say all white people are not white supremacists at all. All white people are not racist. But when I talk to a white person and they say something that's raising my antennas, I might suspect that they could be a white supremacist, so I'm going to be on alert.
Most white supremacists, what percentage of white supremacists do you feel are aware of their white supremacy? And how many are just part of something that's already existed?
Well, the thing is, we have white supremacists and you have white extremists. You see, like the Dylan Roofs and all of these people, these are the extremists who are very open about their white supremacist views. So they go out and join organizations like the Skinheads, the Klan, and all that. But the average white supremacist could be a soccer mom who gets on a jury, sees that a black guy didn't commit a crime, but she's going to go along and make him guilty anyway. That's a white supremacist too.
And is there someone one notch down from that who wouldn't even do that, right? Like they would go to a trial and they would wait for the information. But still, the way they make decisions in their life, in terms of maybe it's more subconscious, friends or schools they choose. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's almost slightly more benign, but it's real and it adds up.
Yeah, there's some people who deeply believe that they're not white supremacists, but they practice white supremacy because it's so normal. There are people who say, I got a black friend, but the black guy who's their friend is a conservative who hates other black people. You know what I'm saying? So you're still a white supremacist if you're propping up this black person who's hating on other black people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, let's go a step further. If we're going to talk white supremacy in the fabric of America, we have to also discuss how we perceive lighter skin, lighter hair, straighter hair, lighter eyes, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, even my daughter's cartoons, right? They all, for some reason, have British accents. Peppa Pig, British accent. Another one of her favorites, British accent. Oh, yeah. Why so many British European accents?
Are they made in Great Britain?
Maybe. But
probably
why?
A lot of them are not. A lot of them are not. But
And as socially as Americans, which most people probably don't even understand this, for some reason we've been programmed, and you can speak to it if you would like, that because you have a British accent or a European accent, you're somehow more intelligent.
Intelligent or
intelligent,
polished.
astute.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you notice they use a lot of British actors for these slave movies, like 12 Years a Slave and all that. They use a lot of European actors, not black European actors. What's that brother, Chet Welle? What's his name? The guy who played. Yeah.
How do you say his name?
I can't pronounce the brother. He's a brilliant actor. But they use a lot of those brothers for these slave movies because over here, when they do slave movies, a lot of times when they get black actors from America on those plantations, black folks start freaking out because of those ancestral
because
memories.
the PTSD.
Right. Like John Amos, who played on Good Times, when he was in Roots, he said that he had a breakdown. James Evans. He had a breakdown on the plantation during the filming. They had to console him. The brother who played Omar from The Wire. He was in, what's his name?
Michael K. Williams?
Yeah. Brilliant actor. He was on 12 Years a Slave. He had a breakdown on a plantation down there in Louisiana.
Well, even when Nate Parker came here and we talked about Birth of a Nation and visiting the plantations and dealing with Nat Turner's family.
Yeah.
Like, because that family still owns Nat Turner. They had to get permission from the slave owners to do that film and to have that story.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
you still had to go get permission today in 2016.
Yes, indeed.
They said on those plantations when they would have to stop sometimes and pray, and it was real emotional.
It's very emotional. But going back to what you were talking about, children's images and all that, if you look at one of my favorite cartoons I got 4 children, and one of my favorite cartoons is Rio. The cartoon Rio.
The birds.
The birds. They love that. If you look at Rio, you notice all of the good characters are white, and all of the criminals in Rio are the Afro-Brazilians. They got dark skin, broad noses, and afros. So they start programming children at a very young age with cartoons, with colors. This is why when they used to do the doll test, they would get black children and tell them which doll is the ugly one, and they would pick the black doll because that's something that's programmed at a very young age. White supremacy dominates all areas of activity.
Where do you see, I mean, obviously for the next 4 years, we're dealing with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We're dealing with the fallout of him being president, whatever that's going to look like for rich people and poor people alike.
Yeah.
What path are we on today without some dramatic change for dealing with white supremacy in America? Because I talked about it openly on the radio for months and months and months about what Donald Trump represents.
Yeah.
Right? Like him being of white skin, blonde hair, coming in after the name Barack Hussein Obama, Donald Trump, right? We've even openly talked about his relationship with Russia and how you're watching the world align. You have Europeans, America, Brexit happened, right?
Yeah.
So you have that happening. No one ever gets into it with Holland and Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, and then you line that right up with Europe, and that's kind of your planet power structure and control of money. And then below that is all the brown people.
Right.
And we're watching that line up right now today. Where does Tariq Nasheed, you're very vocal and open, where do you see this lining up over the next decade?
Well,
What is the path?
We have to look at the reason why there was a Brexit, and Donald Trump being elected is an extension of Brexit. Everything, you got to look at it in the context of white supremacy. When they start announcing that white people globally, the numbers are dwindling. White people are already a global minority. It's less than 10% of the population of the world are white. And when the white population starts to dwindle more, they have to create an apartheid state. Just like in South Africa, black people are the majority, so they have to rule a police state over there. So that's happening in Europe with Brexit. Brexit was all about getting the dark people out of here, using code words like Muslim. That's always been a code word for black people.
And then the Chancellor of Germany, the lady just said that the burqa, the strict Muslim garb would be banned wherever, not necessary, but wherever appropriate. Like
Right.
you couldn't
yeah,
wear
because
that.
they were fighting because a lot of the women wanted to wear it on the beach, something like the beach. And they were trying to get rid of that. They were like, and the women were fighting for the right to wear the burqa when they wanted to.
Right.
That was
So
a
that's
big
happening
deal.
in-
Right. And again, Muslim, that's the code word for black people. That's always been a code word. Going back to the Moors, when the Moors and the Christians were fighting, the Muslim Moors, the white Christians, even in Cuba, they have a dish called Moors and Christians, which is black beans, white rice. So Moor has, and Muslim and black, all of that has been synonymous. Now over here, they have to create an apartheid state because the white population is dwindling here. In about 17 states, more white people are dying than being born. So people in the dominant society, they go on alert. So when you have somebody like Trump spewing white supremacist rhetoric, people gravitate towards that really for a subconscious level of survival. And now they're trying to create a police state. This is why Trump is talking about stop and frisk, bringing that back nationwide. They're emphasizing on Chicago, talking about Chicago crime, which is a code word for all black people. We have to be very clear about that. When they talk about Chicago, they're talking about all of us. That's a metaphor. So they're trying to create an apartheid police state out here. So that's what we're going to have to look forward to, and we got to be prepared for that.
These are all thoughts, I guess, that have been like around in my brain. You're just putting them all together in a way that's so succinct and scary as we sit a week and a half out from it becoming official.
Rosenberg, you being of Jewish background and faith, you have openly talked about how you feel like this Trump thing is the closest in your lifetime you've ever seen to something like Hitler.
Right.
Yeah.
You've openly said, I've never seen someone use these words in public in my life.
Well, it was similar to what you were saying about how there's actually it was our last interview. Gabrielle Union was talking about how the guy at Dairy Queen got arrested, and when they came up and they asked him what happened, he was very vocal about being like, oh no, I was racist, and had no problem with it, didn't even try to cover it up anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just, I've always heard anti-Semitic rhetoric, always, from all kinds of people, by the way. And now it's just, the scary part for me is I'm noticing a lot of Jews feel threatened. Not to the same degree. It's obviously different than the black experience. But I know, just like I know black people feel under threat, I have family members, literally family members who would never have said this in life, saying they want to get a gun and keep it in their home because they're scared that neighborhoods could start feel like that crime could start picking up and people could start attacking Jews the way they once did. And then we're in a really dangerous place because as Trump blindly aligns himself with Israel, as he will do, that will only raise anti-Semitism more. So as American Jews we're just American, I'm an American Jew. I've been to Israel. I have family there, etc. But I'm an American Jew. And I believe the world should be governed fairly. And I believe the America should play an honest broker in that. So when you blindly support Israel the way Trump will, it only makes the situation of Jews like me more perilous everywhere.
Right.
Because it raises anger and anti-Semitism and vitriol from all people towards Jews.
You can speak to this. It's controversial, but oh well. In Israel, the ruling faction are people who look white.
Yeah.
They are white Israel or they're white Jews who are descendants actually from Europe. But when you go to Israel, you see a lot of black and brown people who are the Israeli and the Jews and the Hebrews that are indigenous to that Mediterranean region.
And then, of course, African immigrants to Israel.
Ethiopians, et cetera, et cetera.
And then, of
They
course,
get thrown under the bus. The Ethiopian Jews, they get thrown under the bus over there.
And then, of course, the Palestinians who are brown.
Right.
Yeah.
So once again, to what I said earlier, and it's unfortunate that we have to put it this way for people to understand and potentially see that there is and I've been open about it, a war going on a international level between white and black and brown. And it's based on what you pointed out, which is the desire for survival of whiteness.
Right.
The color of skin, the color of hair, and these ideas.
That's the basis of racism. A sister named Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, rest in peace, she wrote a book called The ISIS Papers, breaking that down.
She just passed.
She just passed. And the basis of white supremacy, systematic racism, is the fear of genetic annihilation. It's the fear of being wiped out genetically. That's what the whole Holocaust was about. When you read the writings of Hitler, Hitler didn't care anything about nobody's religion. He said that in Mein Kampf. He said, I don't care about the Jews' religion. I just care that they're non-white over here. Jews weren't considered white
the way
before.
they look, their physical traits will mess up the whiteness.
Right. They were like, they wanted a pure white race, which doesn't exist, by the way. But they wanted a pure white race, an ideology of a pure white race. And the Jewish people were considered non-white at the time. And also, we have to understand over here, Italian
there are Jewish people here who
Yeah.
can still consider themselves non-white,
And see-
who black people will be like, no, you white, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, well, like my mom used to say, I'm not white, I'm Jewish, but
Yeah.
she was a red-headed Polish woman.
Yeah, yeah. And they play with that over here with like a lot of Hispanics are classified as white. That started after the 1960s. So a lot of people, the whiteness thing, they let it go. They bring it back for different groups. Italians weren't considered white until like the 1920s. Greeks weren't considered white till the 1940s. So they play around with these classifications and get a lot of people confused.
His name is Tariq Nasheed. Before I get you out of here today, I want to appreciate you for the conversation.
Yes, sir.
I firmly believe this is gonna sound mad hippie and nerdy, but fuck it.
Here we go.
Our education system is a starting place, and how we educate youth of all backgrounds is one of the biggest issues that we have today in America, right? Public school education.
Yeah.
As well as local farms. I know people are like, shut up, Ebro, local farms.
No, that's real talk.
But I firmly believe that we should be on a mission to teach 10-year-old kids how to start growing their own food. Not only for their survival, because the food is killing you and is poison, but so that we can help take care of our elderly who are strung out on prescription drugs, and who knows where that thing is going. And if we don't know how to feed our families and grow food,
But children themselves are strung out on prescription drugs. People are like, in the South Bronx, we talked about how crazy it is. Like, everyone has they have bad hearts. They have what is it that they have? They have when their sugars
Diabetes?
Diabetes. Diabetes is out. It's crazy the number of diabetes that's going on in children.
Oh, yeah.
In children because
And
of the food
by the
that
way,
they eat.
it's not just America. It's West Indian countries too. Jamaica's diabetes problem is out of control.
Yeah.
Right? It's out of control. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, right? Haiti, I hear, is a problem too from the food that they're importing and using and buying from major corporations.
And if you pay attention to the food that they give our children in schools, it's horrible. It's horrible. Kids that rely on those meals as their only meals of the day, too.
Ebro, you weren't here when we had the locks on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Styles P was going crazy.
Styles P said he regretted voting for Obama
Yeah.
because Obama didn't really fight one of his shortcomings was fighting some of
Monsanto
the
and GMO and all
food
that.
administration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but yeah, that's
legislation.
true, man. We do need to grow our own food. We talked about that in Hidden Colors 4. Power is being able to feed yourself. So we definitely need to get into that.
And how
in
many,
agriculture.
The
and all
Hidden
that.
Colors, these are something you produce and
Oh, yeah.
create yourself.
Yeah, the Hidden Colors series, that's the biggest selling Black history documentary ever. And we got 4 of them. It's at hiddencolorsfilm.com. Right now we're doing a documentary about the Haitian Revolution, because that's something that's never talked about. And people can go check that out at
So what are, real quick, parts
ahead.
1 through 4, just
Yes.
quick 2-sentence synopsis on each one through 4.
Hidden Colors 1 through 4 is the Black history documentary series that talk about the untold history of Black people globally. Globally. We talk about the Black experience in Asia, Black experience in Europe, the Moors, people who are Black in rude parts of Europe, a lot of stuff that's just not talked about on the History Channel.
Wow, and when you find it online, you could stream it or order DVD.
Yeah, you can
or
stream
whatever.
it online and you can get the DVD.
So that's great, man.
Wow.
And the documentary, shout to all the Haitian people who support our program. New president in Haiti, hoping for the best there.
Yeah.
They say the new president of Haiti is business minded.
Sounds like us.
A big business guy was what I read.
Yeah.
Your documentary is going to cover up until now.
Yes,
It'll
we're
go all
talking.
the way.
We're going into the whole history of Haiti, because Haiti, that's the only nation that had a slave population that rose up and ruled. That's the only time that happened in history. It's an amazing story, and we're working on that now. We have an Indiegogo page at 1804movie.com.
And most of what you're doing with your work, and I know we got to wrap this up, but most of your work is all based on awareness and information.
Yes, most of it. I get into the BS too. You always take a break from business every now and then. I get into the pettiness every blue moon, but I stick to the business stuff, because we got to handle business. Nobody's really handling serious business in Black society, so somebody has to do that.
So you are picking a person in the Soulja Boy Chris Brown square off. You picked a side here.
I told you, I can't wait to that fight. I can't wait to it. I'm going to the fight dressed as Frank Lucas with a fur coat and a hat. I'm gonna take it real
it's a
seriously.
straight clown show. Everybody's dressing up.
I'm just going
Barnum
to
and Bailey
man.
Circus.
This is a clown show of the century, man. But one thing is, I hope Soulja Boy don't play with that Crip blood thing. Because that's something I don't want the dude to get hurt out there in L.A. I live in L.A. I've been out there for 30 years. I know these dudes take that very seriously. So him walking up and down the street with
Well, I
red
think he was
hats
being
on.
extorted for that. He was paying for that pass, right?
Yeah, but still. But people
No?
don't. Yeah,
Rosenberg?
No, I think there's a lot of around this fight. I think there's a lot of association around this whole thing.
But the thing is, a lot of people in LA, they get extorted by gangs. A lot of rappers, they got to pay a tax.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people think that they're part of the gang that's taxing them.
These guys just want to be my friend. You guys just have my back? Yeah. We just met. Wow, you all want to have my back? Cool, come over. We'll all be friends. Awesome.
Hilarious. Tariq Nasheed, anything you want to get let the people know before we let you
Again, man, the movie, man, we're working on it right now. It's called 1804, The Hidden History of Haiti. We got an Indiegogo page. Everybody go support that. Go look at the trailer, and that's coming later on this fall, but you can support it now.
Thank you very much. Barack Obama, that's what I forgot. One thing, Barack Obama, your opinion of Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
He says his farewell speech tonight.
I don't care. I voted for Barack Obama twice. I even put money on his second campaign.
Okay.
And Barack Obama, he was just a powerless token. That's it. He was a token, nothing more, nothing less.
You were waiting? You were waiting for him to step up and go hard, and you felt like he never did?
Just not even go hard. Just do something, do anything, even say something. And the white supremacists controlled him. It was just that simple.
You think he was afraid?
Yeah. And they're
or do
just
you
not
think he's just like, because was your expectation that he was going to be a black president, or he's just a president who happened to be black?
I mean, he was a president of everybody, but he helped specific groups. He helped Hispanic groups. He helped gay organizations. He gave money to Jewish organizations, Native American organizations. But when it came to black people, all this murder and we're getting executed out here, it became, well, I'm not the president of black people. I'm the president of all America. It was that stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool on him. He's just a powerless token doing what he's told.
And how do you think he'll be remembered? Like that?
They're erasing his memory. Trump and those guys, they're already trying to get rid of Obamacare. That has nothing with do with the policies. It's like, we're gonna let everybody know that it's the name. We're gonna let you know that this black guy being in office meant nothing. We're erasing everything.
So you don't think they'll change what's the actual?
They don't seem to be against the policy.
They just hate the name.
The name. They don't care about the policy. It's just the name. They're erasing his legacy. Even with the gay legislation, they're trying to reverse all that. Everything that he did, they're going to reverse it.
Wow. Tariq Nasheed, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.